Copping drop toss, whole block is stunting. Low credit, don't sweat it, boy, we drop the funding. Stocking glocks while our pockets stock the hundreds. And we do all this in bondage. Ghost. Cold-hearted. Yeah, the cracker got a cap, but we gon' do the do. 100 band foreign call, we ain't rooted poo. Of y'all young, we keep a case dog.
Can you grab Exodus chapter 6, start at verse 7? Because, it's sad seeing, that brother, kind of the situation he's in, but that's really, especially being over, in these parts, like, a lot of people, they've been broken down already. And so, you can speak to them and tell them, hey, the Lord, he's going to come and save us and take us out of the oppression. Just got to gird up our loins, keep the commandments and things like that. But in their mind, it's not really much of anything because they're already discouraged and broken, right? You can start at verse 7.
This is the book of Exodus chapter 6, verse 7. And I will take you to me for a people, and I will be to you a God.
Right, so this is the Most High speaking to Moses, and he's telling Moses, this is what you ought to say to the people. So Moses is going to repeat this to the people, what God is going to do. So he's going to redeem them, and they're going to be his people. He's going to be their God, pretty much. That's what's going on throughout this chapter. We can continue on.
And ye shall know that I am the Lord your God, which bringeth you out from under the burdens of Egypt.
Right, so they're going to be able to perceive that Yahweh is the Lord their God. So, and in other words, they're going to understand the reputation of the Most High, and that he's the one that is redeeming them and removing them from their burdens, from their hard bondage and slavery, right? You can continue on.
Verse 8. And I will bring you unto a land concerning the which I did swear to give it to Abraham, to Isaac, and to Jacob.
Right, so that's the agreement that was written aforetime. You can read that in the book of Genesis, the book of Psalms. I think it's Psalm 106. No, but, excuse me, 105. When you read that account, it actually details the agreement that the Lord made, right? And it goes into how we would receive the land. And this was made with Abraham. What's going on? It was made with Abraham, and then it continued on to Isaac, and it was confirmed to Israel. It was confirmed to Jacob, and then also to Israel, right? Roughly paraphrasing. But you can continue on.
I will give it you for inheritance. I am the Lord.
Right.
And Moses spake so unto the children of Israel, right, but they hearkened not unto Moses.
Hey, brother, you got a second to hear the word? Hey, what's up, man? So what's your name, brother? Read this to you. Just want to show you this, and then I'm trying not to hold you up too much, and I want to give you a flyer as well. Because God, he actually, like I mentioned before, he speaks about the things that he wants you to eat and that he doesn't want you to eat. And if you remember earlier, we read the scripture about how God, he respects those that tremble at his word, or that, or he shows favor to them that show respect to his word. So, like, when we read this, what will be best is you take this away, you ponder on it, and you try to apply it to your life hereafter. You know what I'm saying? You got it?
Question. What? I know you said you don't eat like pork, you don't eat pig, and right? Is there a particular reason, or is just like a particular choice for yourself?
She growing up, they usually hurt her stomach and her head, so she kept that away.
Got you.
We actually ate it at the same time.
Got you. So God actually didn't want you to eat that, right?
Yeah.
Have you heard of that before? Yeah. Yeah, so I know you said it hurt you, but I'm gonna read this to you. What's up, bro? How you been?
How you doing, brother?
Good seeing you, man.
Good to see you. Brother Corey?
Yes, sir.
Yep.
For sure,
of course,
bro.
Man.
So this is it. This is Leviticus chapter 11, verse 7. And the swine, though it divideth the hoof and be cloven-footed, yet it cheweth not the cud, it is unclean to you. So basically, the swine or the pig, is an unclean animal, right? And the reason being is that it doesn't chew the cud. And what that means is it basically ingests something and it just stays in its body until it like poops it out, but the rest of it just remains in its body. So basically, that's what you're eating when you eat pig, right? And so if you eat that, you think your body gonna like it, right? And so the same thing with the shellfish, right? I'm gonna read this. This is Leviticus 11 and verse 9. These shall ye eat of all that are in the waters, whatsoever hath fins and scales in the waters and in the seas and in the rivers, them shall ye eat, right? And all that have not fins and scales in the sea and in the rivers, of all that move in the waters, of any living thing which is in the waters, they shall be an abomination unto you. And so going into that word abomination, that means like the most disgusting thing, right? So those are supposed to be disgusting to you because if you open up a crab after it just dies, in its belly or in its body, it's just like everything it ever had. And it's basically just cleaning the bottom of the ocean. That's why they call them bottom feeders. And that's why people like them so much, is because they're eating all this salt and all this. They eating poop and every piece of trash people throw in the water, and then we eat those things. And then we wonder why we got high blood pressure, diabetes, and things like that. And so God tells us not to do these things because they kill us, right? Because in the law, there's health benefits, right? He's not just doing these things to like give you a bunch of rules to make your life hell, right? He's giving you these rules to like help you live a better life, right? Because he calls us like holy, right? And you know what the word holy actually means? Uh, can you get that in the Hebrew?
You say the best way I can say it.
Right. A lot of our people think that it just means things like pure or like it means you churchy or something like that. You show that sense of holiness, right? And the people who say these things usually got on a fly suit and things like that. But that's not actually what that word just means, right?
So it's kodash and sacred, whether ceremonially or morally, and then that's pretty much what I have for. I don't have anything extensive.
Gotcha. So it's a sacred thing, and actually the word goes into being set apart, right? Being put away for something special, and that's what we are. God views us as that, and He wants us to be that. He wants us to be sacred. He doesn't want us to put ourselves in situations where we're destroying ourselves so that we have no value, because He looks at us as a treasure, and so we got to live up to that, right? You know how people just say like, "I'm the prize." Well, in God's eyes, we are the prize. But if we don't live up to it, then we're like a worthless piece of gold, right? That's trampled over, that was at some point valuable, but now it has no value because it destroyed itself. And so we can't destroy ourselves. So that's why He gave us these laws and commandments so that we can be the best people in the world, right? Anytime, there's a saying from Jesse Jackson. You heard of him? So Jesse Jackson was a football player at one point, but he went on to be an activist, right? And they asked him, why do black people excel in sports, right? And I guess they thought he was going to say something about, oh, we got such great genetics. What he said was, anytime you put the rules in front of us, we excel. And so what happens is the rules are right here in front of us, but somebody has told us that the second half of this Bible makes these first rules not apply. So that's what's keeping us failing. That's why we have our brothers and sisters out here killing each other and thinking like, oh man, they the ops. Why would your ops look just like you? That don't make sense. That's a psychological thing. And so we gotta take out this psychological thing that people look like us are our enemies. These are our people and we gotta fight for each other. I don't care if it's somebody going through, they on strung out on drugs or any kind of weird sin, like we supposed to go out there and try to reach them and pull them out of that. and show them that they are treasured by the Most High God, right? And so, I believe the brother has a flyer, and I don't want to hold you up too long.
The blue? Yeah, it's this blue one, and we got one as well. So we
Yeah.
got 2 flyers for you. This is for weekly lessons on here. Just if you got a phone, just scan barcode for the YouTube, or if you got Facebook, you use Facebook.
When you actually look into the historicity, I don't care if you look in Islam, I don't care if you look in Egypt, like I don't care if you look any of the people that try to discredit Jesus. We call him Yahweh in the ancient Hebrew. But any of the people that try to discredit him from being who he was, they always mention that he actually exists, but they're trying to discredit who he was. So that should tell you something, because most people are just trying to say, yeah, he ain't real. But if everybody has the same thing, that he did these miracles, but they just don't believe that the miracles was the way that people are saying they are. They believe he went into Africa and learned some traditions. Well, that mean the thing happened. You just don't believe that it was the way you said it is.
Right.
So, hit us up, because we can actually show you some of that history as well. And that way, we here to really build each other's faith in. Because there's things, let's say we start learning through the scriptures together, you might show me things down the line, right? And I'm 37, right? So it's not about age, it's not about none of that. It's really about when the spirit jumps on you. And you just seem like you got a good heart. So, and that's the most important thing, right? Because this whole life is about us being put in a condition where it's very difficult for us to survive, and then turn away from it and not desire any of it, right? Desire to be husbands, desire to own our own land, desire to own our own farms, clothing businesses, any kind of business, right? So that we can provide as a community. Because what happens is you got to go here, you got to go there, you got to go everywhere else and just trust what everybody else is doing, but we don't trust our own people, right? So we got to build that, in the community. And so that's one of the most important things in this Bible that a lot of people won't even teach you. They just teach you, pay your tithes, um, come to church every Sunday, and get a quick step in, right? And I'm an organist, right? I play organ. I played at churches, most of my life. So like, I get, and I'm not saying they're not sincere in what they're trying to do, but what happens is the way that people keep church today is the way we were taught in slavery. If you look at the history, but if we actually look at the Bible, that's not the way they was doing it in the Bible. So we got to get back to this, because this is more important, right? So yeah, bro, definitely hit us up, man. And what's your name again, King? Jaquan, man. Send me a
Nice to meet
text.
you, brother.
Send me a text
For
with
sure.
your name, so I can lock you in, bro.
For sure. For sure.
It's funny because we kind of been on the same theme all night, right? And it's really about us building community. The one thing that we as black and brown people lack, because we'd rather build up a church and only see each other on the weekend. We'd rather build up a something where you're so less involved with people. You're not as involved with people, right? But we need to build up situations where we are involved with people, so that we're not falling short, right? Like I said, like I say all the time, there's things I've done in my teens that I wish I never fell into. But how did I fall into these things? Being alone, being by myself, right? All my siblings are much older, so me kind of being by myself kind of left me just out there, right?
Right.
And so that's how you get into stuff. But you need a band of brothers to be built up in this thing, right? A band of brothers to say, hey, bro, nah, that ain't what you need, right? You kind of do well in certain areas, so it's like, oh, I'm cool. So then you grow up and then you repent, and then it's like, dang, I'm cool now, but the stain that is on my earlier self, I wish I never had, right? And I see brothers who have done other things. You know, they've been in, you know, gang situations and things like that, and so now they wish they never did what they did. But you know, the Most High calls you when He calls you, and He calls you out of certain things when He calls you out of certain things. And yeah, you might fall into certain little temptations, you know, when you get into this thing. But we really got to work on changing, right?
That's right.
I know you was building on a point. Did you want to go back to that? No, and I think that was good, right? Because he was talking about to give a gist to it, how we can teach our people these things, and we can say all these things to our people, just as Moses. The Most High even gave him the words to say, and he said them, but the people didn't hearken. They didn't. Are you going to be ready to hear something when you got coke in your system? You're not going to be ready to hear it. Are you going to want to hear something while you get your back beaten in by Egyptians? Nah. And then you say, let's say you finally start to believe, right? And then Moses goes and speaks to the king of the land.
Right.
And now things is 20 times worse.
Yeah.
Nigga, why'd you even come in?
Right. Come on.
You making it crazy out here. Right? And so then Moses goes back to the Most High, who already told him, hey bro, it's not gonna get right. Like, you gonna go up there and he not gonna hear you. Right? And so Moses still questioned it, like, hey, you sent me up there and he ain't do nothing, right? Right? And so we can't think that we gonna just get everything in a day, right?
Heathens making food and waiting the Jews. What a blessing. Roasted lamb, mac and cheese, well blended indeed. But what a dressing. Mashiach trumps loud, cloud is the soul chassis. Head of snow, head to toe, all white with the gold sashes. Flag front de Levant, punched on the old atlas. The streets of freedom, Dorica, Edom on mold mattress. Let me get this straight, you want the saints to push past your worst. White drop cocaine in our domains, they foot track the work. They hit the news and act removed from cook, crack, dispersed. And y'all grafted in with who? Book, chapter, verse. Christian Louboutins need Jerusalem.